From assassination attempts to political scandals, politics has never been more chaotic. With presidential debates, surprise candidates, and corruption charges swirling around, Saturday Night Live couldn't have picked a better time to make its big comeback. Kicking off its 50th season in style, SNL brought back some of its fan-favorite impersonators: Dana Carvey as Joe Biden, Andy Samberg as Doug Emhoff, and Jim Gaffigan as Tim Walz, alongside Maya Rudolph's spot-on Kamala Harris to dive into the roller coaster summer of politics.
I'm sure I like to laugh. I do.
The cold open had Johnson playing Trump at a rally, cracking jokes about the recent assassination attempts on the GOP nominee, and throwing in some comments about Harris's race.
They say that me blaming the Democrats for inciting violence is the pot calling the kettle black. But frankly, I didn't know the kettle was black until very recently. I thought the kettle was Indian. But then it decided to turn black.
In recent years, however, SNL has faced a noticeable dip in popularity, not just in ratings, but in its comedic edge. The 2021 premiere of the 47th season hit a low point, and much of the criticism revolves around the show's changing humor, especially after some of the most iconic cast members retired. Legends like Tina Fey, Amy Poehler, and Bill Hader left a huge gap when they stepped away, and their absence has been hard to fill. The early 2000s gave us an incredible lineup. Hader's unforgettable Stefan and the unbeatable chemistry between Fey and Poehler on Weekend Update were just a few highlights from that golden era. Since then, the cast turnover has been swift, and SNL has struggled to recapture that sharpness and relevance it once had. But despite the ups and downs, SNL still delivers the heat. Tonight, they tackled everything from the Harris-Trump debates to New York Mayor Eric Adams's corruption scandal, all with Emmy winner Gene Smart as host. In just 90 minutes, the show served up all the political chaos you could ask for, proving that it's still the place to be for a wild take on American politics. It was a fantastic season opener, and I can't wait to see what's next. Hosting SNL can make or break a celebrity's career. It's either a moment to boost stardom or a chance to go down in history as a complete disaster. Now, let's take a look at some of the most controversial hosts in no particular order. First up, one of the most talked about appearances has to be Donald Trump's 2015 turn on the show.
It's wonderful to be here. I will tell you, this is going to be something special.
His SNL hosting gig wasn't a total disaster, but it wasn't exactly a comedy hit either. He stood by as the cast, including Daryl Hammond and Taran Killam, mocked him non-stop.
Great. Isn't he doing fantastic?
Surprisingly, Trump didn't throw a fit or file a lawsuit, which, given his track record, is impressive. His 2015 appearance, right in the middle of his presidential campaign, drew huge ratings, 9.3 million viewers. But it also sparked protests and plenty of backlash from critics. While it wasn't his finest moment, NBC definitely got the ratings boost they were after.
We have got a great show tonight.
And who could forget Justin Bieber's 2013 episode? Bieber, at the height of his pop stardom, showed up with an entourage of over 20 people. Yes, over 20. One person's actual job was to hold pizza for Bieber. According to Bill Hader, Justin was the only host to fully embrace the diva lifestyle, and let's just say it didn't go well.
Bieber was, he just was in a bad place. Maybe he's in a better place, but then he was in it was rough.
The episode flopped, with Bieber's lack of comedic timing and backstage tension, making it one of the more disappointing ones.
Who are you?
I'm a runaway, okay?
But honestly, the sketches he appeared in just feel off. Just take a look.
It's just that I'm very lonely and I would like to give you a bath.
I'm gonna be contacting Gloria Allred. This is not
Not all disastrous hosting gigs are recent, though. Going back to 2005, Paris Hilton's time on SNL left much to be desired.
I've had a great time this week. It's been very exciting to do live TV because there are no tapes whatsoever involved, and that makes me very happy.
According to Tina Fey, Hilton took herself far too seriously and was more concerned with her image than having fun on set. Tina even called Paris one of the worst hosts the show had seen.
Paris Hilton, I would kill myself.
She's a piece of shit.
The result? A painfully awkward episode that lacked any of the humor SNL is known for.
The Hilton's own hotels all over the world, right?
Yes, they're New York, London, Paris.
Oh wait, so it actually is a Paris Hilton?
Yes, there is.
Adrien Brody's 2003 hosting gig is unforgettable, but not for the right reasons. Fresh off his Oscar win for The Pianist, he thought he could spice things up with his own ideas, which always seemed to feature him as a rapper.
Yeah, baby. You know the crime pay me. We wild in this place.
But instead of a fun twist, he ended up clashing with the SNL crew. But what sealed his fate was an unscripted and offensive intro for musical guest Sean Paul, complete with a faux Jamaican accent and dreadlocks.
Yeah, man, Jamaica, man, you know, Rastafari, you know.
His improvisation didn't land well, coming off as more cringy than clever, and it earned him a permanent spot on the SNL banned list. Turning to Rudy Giuliani, his hosting appearance in the wake of the September 11th attacks was undoubtedly well-intentioned, but let's face it, his comedic timing was off.
After all, tonight, if I'm not good, you know, what are they gonna do? Blow up my car?
Watching him in sketches, like pretending to be a grandma, felt awkward.
The kids need more pop.
The kids are smashed, Ma.
No, they're not. They're just happy.
Despite his efforts, the audience just didn't connect with him. Sometimes, even the most well-meaning guests can miss the mark. Fast forward to 2011, when Katy Perry took the stage. Like many singers trying their hand at comedy, she had a tough time fitting into the skits.
It brings me very happy to be here. I have brought you un koro, which means Japanese for a gift.
By the end of the night, she found herself in more supporting roles, and it was clear the comedic chemistry just wasn't there.
Have you plans for the holidays, Your Majesty?
Piss off.
I beg pardon?
To make things even more interesting, her relationship with comedian Russell Brand reportedly ended soon after. Some say her SNL performance might have had something to do with it. I guess when it comes to relationships, a good sense of humor is key, because if you can't laugh together, you might just end up singing solo. Lindsay Lohan's return to the SNL stage in 2012 was another disappointment. The writers leaned heavily into jokes about her instability and sobriety, which left her visibly uncomfortable.
So good to see you again. You know, I forgot how beautiful your eyes are.
Thanks, Keenan.
Can I see them?
Okay.
Yeah, can I see your eyes, please?
Lohan stumbled through her lines and spent much of the night glancing nervously at cue cards, transforming what could have been a career comeback into a cringe-worthy event.
I'm sorry, what keeps happening with the phone?
You know what? Sometimes I get prank phone calls. It's neighborhood kids.
But you have to give her credit. She was brave to participate despite the pressure. For a more bizarre example, let's talk about Milton Berle, who was already an entertainment icon by the time he hosted SNL in 1979. He didn't exactly play nice with Lorne Michaels and the cast. Berle had a serious need for control, even going so far as to orchestrate his own standing ovation. Can you imagine that? It didn't sit well with Michaels. His brash behavior, both on and off camera, led to one of the most infamous bans in SNL history. On the more divisive side of things, Andrew Dice Clay's 1990 episode sparked outrage even before the show aired. Known for his crude and misogynistic humor, Clay's presence led cast member Nora Dunn to boycott the episode. The tension was palpable, and the result was an episode that felt defensive and mean-spirited.
One of my fellow cast members has refused to appear tonight.
That's better, because I am not legitimizing this thing, this man, this whatever they say he is. I'm angry, really.
More recently, Dave Chappelle's 2022 appearance generated its own controversy. Following his Netflix specials that faced backlash for jokes about the transgender community, his hosting gig touched on sensitive topics once again. While Chappelle avoided those specific jokes, his comments on anti-Semitism still managed to stir up criticism.
I denounce anti-Semitism in all its forms. And I stand with my friends in the Jewish community. And that, Kanye, is how you buy yourself some time.
And remember Tom Green? Well, let's just say his hosting was a matter of taste. His over-the-top, obnoxious humor definitely has its fans, but it's not for everyone. Instead of trying to win over SNL's regular viewers, Tom decided to give them the full Tom Green experience. Think weird noises and rubbing up against his co-stars. Yeah, it was something. You could argue he nailed his brand of comedy, but as far as hosting Saturday Night Live goes, not so much. When Lance Armstrong hosted SNL in 2005, he was on top of the world. He'd beaten cancer, his yellow Livestrong wristbands were everywhere, and he was dodging investigations into doping. Oh, and he was dating Sheryl Crow. But all that success brought a cockiness that didn't sit well. He and the cast made smug jokes about the people trying to bring him down, and it felt off back then. Watching it now, after his doping scandal, it's almost painful. Safe to say this episode hasn't aged well. Oh, Steven Seagull, the man who dominated action movies in the 80s and 90s and somehow thought comedy was the same game. Spoiler alert, it wasn't.
My newest film, Out for Justice, which is #1 in the nation right now.
Seagull's hosting gig on SNL was a disaster of epic proportions. Actually, he was named the worst host ever by anyone working at SNL at the time.
A lot of other people that were at SNL have cited him and that week as the example of the worst host and week.
Not only did he refuse to play along with the cast's jokes, but he countered with his own ideas that basically had him playing himself while ranting about things he hated. Yeah, real charming.
Listen to me carefully. I don't want you to talk about anything to me anymore. I don't want you to say my name anymore.
His performance was so bad that by the end, it felt like everyone was just waiting for him to say, "You know what? I'm out." But he didn't, although maybe he should have. Even Lorne Michaels admitted it was a really tough week. And, thank the comedy gods, Seagull was never invited back. Ouch. So, there you have it. Some of the wildest, most controversial, and downright disastrous hosting gigs in SNL history. But now it's your turn. Who do you think was the absolute worst host ever? And on the flip side, who's your all-time favorite? Let's discuss in the comments.